Yo, Devy Junkies. Brandon here from the Devy Deep Dive podcast and creator of the Devy Dashboard. Thanks again for tuning into the Devy Huddle. This is going to be on my YouTube channel here every Tuesday night at 9, and I'm here with the Dashboard crew, and we're just here going to be casually talking Devy. So we all are in our Devy League, C2C leagues. We got a great new addition to our show. We're going to be actually watching some film on some 2025 prospects. So welcome and thank you if you are tuning in. And guys, welcome again, Rich, Dan, Sam. You guys are staples here, and we have a special guest, Sam Casumano, out on the West Coast. We were just talking pregame. He's loving California out there. So welcome to the show.
Glad to be here.
Awesome.
Yeah, man. So I got a little tidbit about Sal. You know, I want to throw this out, Sal. All right. I mean, and I don't know if you know, this or not, but you are the first Dashboard subscriber that ever reached out to join the Dashboard. So you are.
No shit.
We're the first one. Nice. So I mean, I have this big list in Excel of like 275 people now are in it, and you were at the top of the list, my friend. So thank you for taking the plunge and starting me off on this venture that I've enjoyed.
That's awesome.
It's awesome. 2 years ago, I wasn't even playing Devy or C2C. So
I mean, I think it's especially C2C is kind of really exploded here in the last couple of years. I'm sure it's only going to gain in popularity. But tonight's show, man, we're going to go through some news and notes. You know, the big news was the top 4, playoff teams were kind of announced. We're going to talk about that. We're going to go in our segment, Stock Watch. We're all going to talk about a player that we, looking at the draft board guys or the Stock Watch, we all have guys going up. So next week, damn it, we have to pick all guys that are going down because we're getting into this horrible trend of all the uptick guys. But we got to start talking a little bit too about some of the guys that are, falling down as well. So, and then we're going to talk about Mr. Branson, Branson Robinson, 2025 Georgia running back prospect. We're going to do a little film grind, something we decided to do on this show. So I'm pretty excited about that. So it'll give all of us a little tidbit, a little early look at some of these exciting players, especially when we go into our C2C drafts, in the summer before next fall. So, all right, man, let's just talk about the news a little bit. The first thing I wanted to bring up as a topic for all of us to discuss was, I don't know if you heard the news that, Zach Evans, was kind of, talking about limiting his carry share in preparation of kind of saving his body for the NFL. Did you guys get wind of that at all?
Yeah. I didn't hear about that. Yeah. I don't,
what are your guys' thoughts on that? I'm interested.
Well, I mean, I don't blame him. Yeah. I don't really think it's his call, but I mean, I can't really blame him because I mean, if you're somebody like Mo Ibrahim getting like 35 carries a game, and when it comes time to go to the NFL, you're just a beat up shell. I mean, I think somewhere around there's got to be some kind of happy medium, like 18, 20 touches a game, something like that.
Right.
It's just, I don't think it's his to say, there's no number it should be, but it's not his call. And I mean, but he's been that kind of person all the way through his high school and, his first year or two in college too. So
that's kind of what I thought about too. When I heard the news, it was kind of, he's not causing a problem, but he's got an opinion on something. Anyone else have anything to add?
Yeah, I mean, so it's difficult with running backs because of the way that the NFL values them. They're looking for that second contract. Usually by the time they get there, they're kind of worn down. I think that colleges need to plan for this. They can't just feed a guy 30, 40 carries, right? So if you start off the game rotating your running backs, when it gets later in the game, then sure, you can use your workhorse. But if we're just giving him 35 carries a game, well, what's the point? By the time he gets to the NFL, he may not make it to that second contract. Whereas on the flip side, wide receivers, obviously, they last a lot longer. You know what I mean? So it's the shelf life. So I don't blame him at all.
Yeah, I don't have any issues with it either. Last week we talked about some guys, potentially sitting out next year to ensure that they don't get injured, protect themselves. And I will, I'm always going to side on that side with players on, health and safety and prolonging their career and, doing what they got to do to take care of themselves and their families. So I totally get where he's coming from. I hope it doesn't affect his stock too much as far from an NFL perspective. I think he's shown enough on tape already to be a day 2 guy. at least a day two guy. So
right.
we'll see what happens.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm interested to see what NFL teams think of it. I'm pretty much on board with you guys. I don't have a big issue with it personally, but I wouldn't be surprised if some NFL teams knock him for it just because there are guys that just, want to see guys that are fully committed to the team. There are guys that want to see guys get, 2-3 full years of big workloads to prove what they can do consistently. So it'll be interesting to see how NFL teams view that, but I don't blame him at all. I mean, stay healthy, secure the money.
That's it. It's all about the cash, So all
grab
this
that
decision, every decision most people make in their life has to do with the almighty dollar, right? So, Kenneth Walker's been killing it, guys. I mean, his Heisman odds are kind of going up each week. What do we think his chances of any kind of Heisman, if he continues to just score 3 or 4 touchdowns a week and ends up being the leading rusher, he's close to the top of the list as it is. Do you think he can, knock off one of these quarterbacks?
I think he can. So with the injury to Corral, I think that's going to benefit him. Really, then your hurdle is going to be Bryce Young. So any kind of stumble from Young, and I can easily see Walker passing him. I mean, the type of year that Walker's having, it's unbelievable. Now, with that being said, I'll throw a plug in here for Sam. Sean Tucker has more yards than him. But anyway, a little stumble from Bryce Young, and I can absolutely see him winning the Heisman.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah. I'm looking at Michigan. Michigan State. Their last 4 games: Purdue, Maryland, Penn State. Sorry, Rich. I love Penn State. They can't stop the run. They do have Ohio State. That's the game. Ohio State. If he can do well, I mean, I think he's got the best shot. Bryce Young, good shot. Corral needs to just blow it out. Under the radar guy, maybe CJ Stroud. I mean, if the other guys don't really flash or do anything, and CJ Stroud, they beat Michigan State. I mean, they beat Michigan. They're going to beat Michigan. I mean, that's like every year, no matter what. Nebraska, Purdue, win the title, make the championship series. I mean, CJ Stroud, after that rough start, he's got 15 touchdowns in his last 5 games, no picks. I mean, he had that rough. He has a shot. Don't forget.
Yeah, are you really plugged into the Matt Corral thing, Rich? Is he expected to play this week, or?
I believe he is. I think that he's still a little bit hampered from that Tennessee game when he went for over 200 rushing yards.
Yeah.
So I mean,
it's a Liberty game. You know what I mean? We all want to see Willis against.
Yeah,
Corral,
I mean, he's still been playing well. He just hasn't been the Matt Corral from earlier in the year. So. I mean, but I think that injury could have Walker leapfrog him.
I think the thing that has me a little iffy on Walker's odds of winning the Heisman is that, yes, he's having a great season, but at the same time, like so far, none of the quarterbacks that we mentioned are really blowing it out of the park. And I think between all of those guys that we mentioned, one of them over the second half of the season is going to just take off and light it up. I think there's a very good chance of that. And not to say that he wouldn't deserve it anyways, but if you have a quarterback knocking it out of the park, at the end of the day, I know Devontae won it last year, but for the most part, it's a quarterback competition. So, it has to be clear. It has to be no quarterback lights it up over the second half of the season, and Walker continues this over the second half of the season, which he's playing well, but, I mean, it's hard to keep up the pace he's going at. So we'll see what happens. I'm not too
I think if Alabama ends up winning it, let's say they knock off Georgia in the finals and Bryce Young has that great end of the season and wins the national championship, I think he's hard pressed not to win it personally.
It'll be
all right. So let's talk about Drake London, right? I mean, probably the big injury news over the week was a real bummer. Drake London, a guy that, I did a film study on last year, and I always like to kind of talk about my hits and misses. A guy that, we talked about, he played out of the slot last year. Didn't get any outside work. We were all waiting this year to see, him play outside. I think he is, I don't think he's gaining that great separation. He's got a lot of contested catches, but I think he's a super athletic player. I don't think this is going to hurt his draft stock at all. Him getting that foot injury is kind of like what happened to Waddle last year. So I think he's still going to be one of the top receivers, in the draft next year. Any thoughts, guys?
Well, I mean, he's probably he might have to miss the combine, because if you get a broken ankle, it's probably 2 to 3 months, and 2 to 3 months will put him into January or February, and you need to declare by like middle of January. So, I mean, do you think if he misses the combine, he's still going to have that draft capital? I mean, he's still got Garrett Wilson, Treylon, Jameson, Dotson, Olave, Pickens, Bell, all out.
When it happened, like, and it was coming out that he might not be able to participate, immediately T. Higgins came to mind. You know, he didn't participate in any of that stuff, and he was still the first pick in the second round. So worst case scenario, early second round. The good news for him, it was a break, and from what I see, there's no ligament damage. So I mean, thankfully for that too.
Yeah, I mean, it's unfortunate. You know, he was balling out. The kid was just balling out of his mind. But yeah, I'm kind of with you guys. I think it might drop him out of the first round. It's a deep receiver class. You know, Sal was just mentioning all those guys that could potentially go before him. So, you know, early to mid second round, I could kind of see him falling into that range potentially, but it shouldn't hurt him too much.
Yeah, I would agree. All right, so the big news today coming out that the college playoff top 25 came out, and a lot of people were disappointed Cincinnati wasn't in the top 4. A lot to shake out here. Of course, everyone overreacts and is commenting all over Twitter about it. But I still think, a lot of people want to see Cincinnati. Some people don't want to see Cincinnati. Ohio State. I think Ohio State eventually gets in there, especially if Michigan State stumbles and gets a loss. What are your guys? Who do you guys project to be the top 4 when it's all said and done?
Well, Michigan State plays Ohio State coming up, so
one of that'll be a good one.
Yeah, that'll get rid of one. I kind of wonder if Bama runs the table but loses close to Georgia. I hate to say it, but they might sneak in as the 4th or something like that, and probably Ohio State definitely. But Michigan State, if they win against Ohio State, they could. Oh yeah.
Absolutely.
I've seen stranger things, but it's Georgia's to lose. It's Georgia's to lose.
Yeah. Cincinnati is so disrespected, man. It's unfortunate. Like, what are you gonna? They went out and there's just nothing they can do. They're not going to get into the top 10, no matter what they do. So
the only big team left was like SMU is ranked, which isn't even that big. So like even if they went out, they might not make it.
Yeah. Well, a lot will shake out for sure in the final, month of regular season college football ahead of us. All right, so let's do our stock watch segment. Up and down, like I said, guys. Next week we're all down. Since we're all up this week, goddammit, we're going down next week. All right, so that's going to be the rule.
Sam did it down last week, and the guy went off.
I've done it down like 3 different weeks, and every time,
they go crazy.
Yeah. Who are you? I think I said down. I said I was concerned about Treylon Burks, and then he had like 3 straight 100-yard games.
He had Marvin
Mims, like 150 and 2. It's like
I'm gonna give you a list of players to do a stock down.
I got
Sam.
Yeah. Stock down. Brennan Armstrong, stock down. Yeah.
So I'm gonna kick this off, and I want to go deep on this. I put a player film out on him. You guys had it Sunday morning. It's like my favorite thing to do, by the way, on Sunday mornings. Drink my coffee. My kids and my wife, they all sleep till like 9, and I get up at 6:30 and have 2.5 hours. So what I love doing is making a game film. And I talked about Andrell Anthony, the Michigan freshman wide receiver that broke out this week. I was watching that game on Saturday afternoon here on my computers and immediately started, making a game film on this kid. He took one to the house early in the game. 6'2", 185 pounds. He's a 3-star prospect. He was ranked the 81st wide receiver in the 2021 class by 27 Sports. And as we know, doing this Devy stuff, those rankings in the long grand scheme of things don't mean anything. A lot of it has to do with the physicality of the player and the opportunity. But this kid took advantage. He didn't even have a catch before this game against Michigan State on Saturday. Broke out for 6 receptions, 155 yards, and 2 TDs. He's a 2-sport athlete, so he's been playing. He's a very successful basketball player. So that, that just equals athleticism when you got a wide receiver out there playing ball too, playing hoops. So, but I thought he was really impressive, and he's a guy that we did one waiver. I was in one waivers, and then my C2C, he was like I went after a running back. I went after Andrell Anthony. He was my second pick in my queue. And I was really surprised no one kind of picked him up. There were some other players that, were more productive for C2C winning, so I get it. But, Andrell Anthony, man, if he's out there in your C2C league and you got waivers coming up, might be somebody you might want to talk about. But I really liked his hands. And in my film that I made that I posted on this YouTube channel, he made a grab on the sideline that he didn't get his 1 foot in to have it be a reception. That would have been another 40 yards or so on his stat line. That it was probably his most impressive catch of the day outside the one, he caught in the end zone. But, stock up for Andrell Anthony, man. And, McNamara, I thought, played really well for Michigan. just stock up to Andrew Anthony. I always love finding these younger guys. Now you could be a flash in the pan and disappear for 3 weeks. Who the hell knows, right? But in any case, Andrew Anthony, I figured I'd go deep this week on this section. And if you haven't heard from him, it's a YouTube film on this YouTube channel here. Check it out. But it's nice to see at least another Michigan receiver with Bell going down earlier in the year, a guy kind of breaking out. So he is my stock up player today. Daniel, who you got, buddy?
Yeah, so I'm going to go with Jalen Tolbert today. Not quite as deep a dive as you, Brandon, but definitely a guy that I want to talk about for a couple of reasons. One reason I want to talk about him is because, frankly, I feel like the Devy community as a whole is too low on this guy. And I'm guilty as well. You know what I mean? I remember going through, and this was my first year getting really into the Devy thing. So I did a few drafts. I was doing a ton of research, and I was looking at a lot of mock drafts to see kind of where NFL teams evaluate, or, at least the perception of where NFL teams evaluate guys. And he was consistently going in the first, second round. I should have been in on him late in my Devy drafts, but I was looking through, DLF rankings. Oh, DLF doesn't have him high enough, right? Some guys don't have him high enough. They don't have him in, when they're in their top 70, whatever. And I think it's a mistake. Second reason I want to talk about him is because our guy, Corey P., was talking about him this week, and he put out a tweet earlier this week. And we kind of, ignited a little bit of chat in our little community there on our dashboard. And it got me just thinking about all that again and thinking about this guy. And I went back. It was kind of hard to find some film on him, to be honest. So I was watching some stuff from last year, though. I caught a little bit of his film from this year, and I was just impressed. He's listed at 6'3", 190. Means he's probably 6'2", 180, right? But it's still good size. I thought he was just going to be a speed guy, to be honest. It's a guy that goes deep, gets open, and he is. But he played with more physicality than I thought he would. He actually was going up and high pointing the ball, making contested catches. It looked like his route running was really impressive as well. And it all boils down to this. I think he's going to get draft capital. So I think he needs to be on our radar for if there anything, if for that reason alone. So yeah, I'm in on him. I'm going to look to pick up some shares this offseason.
I love it. I like it. Rich, who you got, buddy?
All right. So I like that Tolbert pick, Daniel. I was going to talk about him, but I saw that you had already selected him. So I had a few guys I was choosing between here for stock up, kind of guys like Jalen Knight and Deuce Vaughn, Zay Flowers. I talked about them a little bit on Twitter. I decided to go in a different direction. Brandon, you always say tight ends need love too. So here we go. True. All right, I'm talking about Trey McBride, senior tight end, Colorado State. All right, he is 6'4", 260 pounds, so he has great NFL size. He was a 3-star recruit coming out of high school. He is 2022 draft eligible. So far this season, he has 66 receptions, 744 yards. He's averaging 11.3 yards per reception. He has a 38.8% market share yards and a 33.5% weighted dominator rating. So he is literally dominating the offense there in Colorado State. He has the ability to play in the slot. He can split wide. He can also play on the line of scrimmage. He's got very good ball skills, strong hands at the catch point. And he also is a very good blocker. So the negative with him is he's not very athletic. So he's not going to blow away the combine. He's not going to blow away his pro day. I think he makes that up with good body position, using his size and high pointing the ball really well. He can block out defenders. So I think he's a very good player, going to be a very good player at the next level. And I think that he's going to make whatever NFL team drafts him, I think they're going to be surprised, and I think they're going to be very happy with that selection. So Trey McBride.
Yeah, he's I got him ranked number 1 on my dashboard anyway, for tight ends this year. And I agree with you. I think you described him perfectly. I think he's got as much athleticism as Freiermuth from last year. Looking at those two players, maybe not as much, but close enough. And, Freiermuth is going to have a role in the NFL. And, you don't have to be Kyle Pitts. You don't have to be Kittle and Kelsey to, those are rare breeds, but, Wallers, they're different type of players. But, man, just a solid tight end has a role in the NFL if you can just work the linebackers and safeties and
He's got really, really strong hands at the catch point.
Exactly. So, I mean, there's definitely a role, especially if he can block, he's going to stay on the field. So, Sam, who you got?
Yeah, I dove pretty deep on this one. I
like
had the pleasure of going to the UNC at Notre Dame game this past weekend, which was a very fun game. And a little more than halfway through the game, I think Kyron Williams got a little banged up. He did end up coming back in, but in the meantime, true freshman Logan Diggs, 3-star recruit, came in, filled in. I believe Chris Tyree was hurt before the game, so Logan Diggs came in and he didn't get too many chances. I think he got like 10 carries or something. He didn't exactly stuff the stat sheet, but he just looked pretty good. Showed some vision, scored a touchdown, had a little power on there. Footwork burst. Just was a guy that I hadn't heard of that came onto the field and surprised me. Took advantage of his opportunities, and I think it was pretty notable that he beat out Audrey Guest team. I think is his name, the 4-star.
Right. Sure.
So he had 20 snaps in 2 weeks ago too, I believe, a couple carries. So, it's clear that the coaches think highly of him. He's filling in when, the other guys are down because Kyron and Tyree are no joke. You know what I mean? It's nothing, no big deal to be behind them as a true freshman. But the fact that he beat out a 4-star, came in, took advantage of his opportunities. Like you said about your guy, he might just be a flash in the pan. He might never show up again. But I think there's a chance. Saw something from him. Kyron goes to the draft this year. Maybe he'll take advantage of the opportunity next year.
Yeah, man, you got to look at that. Fast forward a little bit. That's what we should all be kind of doing right now, especially in the off season. It's trying to look at those vacated opportunities. So I love it, man. Bring that deep dive shit, man. Come on, I like it.
So he could play that Chris Tyree role next year. You know what I mean? Tyree takes over the Kyron Williams role. He slides into the Tyree role.
Right.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Kyron killed it in that game, man. You guys know I love Kyron. That was
me too.
His stock is stock up on Kyron. Yeah. Just quick shout out.
Oh,
yeah. I agree. I mean, it's hard for me to say it because his stock is already way up. But for me, I chose Kyron because his stock was not way up for me. Like I was kind of just like, I don't know, 5'9", 195. That's the same as Javion Hawkins. I was kind of, but on that run where he's stiff arming and he's turning the corner, he's reversing and he's just running away. And I'm just like, he's not 5'9", 195. That you can't do that if you're 5'9", 195. So I'm just kind of like, I mean, he can catch. He's returning punts. I moved him up to like RB4. He was like, I was still kind of like on the fence, but that was just ridiculous, that game for him. That run.
Oh, yeah.
His physicality is amazing.
Yeah.
But just think about it too, Sal. Michael Carter's only 5'8", 200, and we see what he's doing with the Jets. So, and that's something that I've often talked about too. One here is, I mean, I'm a running back size kind of guy. So those smaller backs, I sometimes I know what you're doing, but there's a role for them. The Kenny Gainwells and the for the Eagles and stuff. As you can tell from the Eagles, they didn't run him in between the tackles. With that
was disappointing.
But
from a fantasy perspective,
But no, I think he definitely is going to be one of the top backs in the draft next year. I'm excited for him.
Has no line. I mean, they're horrible.
Yeah. He's producing on his own.
Well, on that touchdown run, he got hit like 5 yards in the backfield, and there were like 3 guys there, and then he just like spun out of it, and like you said, turned the corner, stiff armed the guy. I couldn't believe my eyes when I was watching. It was great.
That stiff arm to get the corner was amazing.
Yeah. Oh man, that's it. That highlight is awesome. I've watched this so many times. He's stout too. I've talked about this before. We've talked about it. He is built, man. Like he looks like he's built to handle 15, 20 touches a game. Is he really 195? I don't even know, man. He looks a little bit bigger than that.
He's got so much power for a guy that size.
I didn't mean to steal your thunder there either, Sal. I didn't know you were going to talk about Kyron.
Go ahead.
No, for somebody that is that involved in the offense, I tell you what, his pass pro is amazing. Oh, yeah. Like he will put a middle linebacker on their butt. He will knock them down like crazy.
And that's why he's going to get drafted. Just throw everything else out for a moment and think about that. That's NFL teams want to see that. That pass blocking goes a long way.
Go ahead, guys. Keep talking while I get this set up. There you go. All right.
Like
I
I
got
said,
some
he's
cool.
RB4. I mean, I still got Brees, Spiller, and Walker in front of Brees.
I have the same order.
Brees is doing his thing. It's just, I guess people are just bored with his thing. I mean, he's just doing the thing he always does.
Yeah. One other thing I like about Kyron's game is, as I mentioned, he got hurt. That's when Logan Diggs came in. And, he went into the tent. A couple minutes later, came running right on the field. He was high. Like, I think he might have got forced into concussion protocol or something because he took a late hit. And as soon as he got cleared, he was, like, running back out there ready to go. I think he took the next carry, like, showed some toughness there. And
he's such a tough kid.
Yeah.
All right, who's ready to watch them? Branson Robinson.
Oh, yeah.
Hell yeah.
Let's do this.
All right, so my iMovie crashed a few days ago, so I don't have the back and forth as much as I want, so I'm improvising here, so bear with me, all right? But what I want to do is I want to watch each one of these plays, and then I kind of want to go back and just talk about it, all right? So, guys, what we're going to do is we're going to go over, there's some traits. I have 5 traits, and I kind of, made this film and then cut it up and then put it into these trait categories, and I'm pretty excited to get started on doing this. So the first thing we're going to take a look at is his vision and patience. So let's take a look. We're going to just kind of go into these plays, and then I'm going to, kind of pause them and go back. There's a lot to like in this particular play.
Oh, yeah.
That was really nice.
Absolutely.
Look at his again, the vision, the patience makes the guy miss.
That little cutback right there was awesome.
That type of move to set up those defenders is something you don't even see from a lot of college backs. Like something that I look for in college backs and love when I see it.
I mean, he can see right there that those blocks are breaking down, and he already knows that he has that lane to his right.
Look at all these guys reaching for him,
Right.
And everyone just slides off his legs.
Yeah,
that's an
no
impressive
chance.
cutback.
I like the way he cut back for the from a vision standpoint on that. Just
The
look
little stutter steps too to let his blocks develop right there. He slowed down, but he's keeping his feet moving right here, and the block's set up, and then he just explodes.
He bursts
right there. Yeah, the burst.
Yeah. Ray GQ calls that the hezzy move. He did that little hezzy right there. Love it.
Yeah, that's exactly.
We just look at his contact balance.
That's impressive.
It's like ridiculous. This one kind of gets lost a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
So, just so you know, he's right here on the right side. If you can see my little squirrely thing here.
Oh, there, yeah.
I just liked how he saw the hole and just bursted through it.
Yeah,
followed his fullback. Yeah, he followed the pulling lineman right there.
Yeah, exactly.
And it looked like he even faked the other way before he was even he kind of tricked a little bit before he.
Yeah, a little stutter step right there.
Yeah. It's that slight little pause.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
I just like the bounce to the outside,
mm-hmm.
and then he shows the speed.
I tell you, when he's standing there before the snap, he looks like Nick Chubb right now.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
doesn't just the way that
he kind of even has that stance.
Yeah,
pushes the guy's face away.
Yeah,
and just the burst.
Yeah, get the hell out of here. Get off of me.
Look at it. I just love it when you guys are like diving for players. You know that they got a little bit of speed, right?
You want to grab something. Yeah, just get a hold of a jersey, something.
Not much to that run, but I like this footwork.
Yeah. I mean, he's got 3 defenders that's not even being blocked, and he still burst through that hole. Look, he's got 3 guys right there.
Yeah. He
burst
hit that fast
through that hole before they even knew what happened. He was gone.
And a lot of guys would be tempted to do a jump cut with that kind of move in that situation, but he kind of keeps his feet on the ground so that he can maintain that burst. Jump cuts, you lose a little speed, but right there, he's just, doing that move without leaving the ground.
Oh, that's that.
That right there. Let his blocks develop. Slid right through the hole and just
he
explodes.
Gets caught here. He
does.
He gets caught.
That one stood out to me a little bit as far as what is his speed, because I was actually surprised to see he got caught from behind there.
Yeah, but I love the footwork here, the patience again, the pitter patter. He
right there,
sees right there. And then the burst, boom, and look at he just loses these guys, but this guy here is pretty quick.
I tell you, I'm fine with
Yeah.
62 yards. I'm fine with that
Yeah,
because
me too.
that short area quickness and the explosiveness. I mean, that's perfectly fine for me.
That kid that made that tackle right there, that he's going to remember that one for the rest of his life.
Oh yeah,
The highlight of his career.
I tackled.
I'll tackle Branson Robinson.
Well, his 100, he did that. I saw it on 24/7. His 100-yard was 11.41. So it's okay. I mean, he did
Yeah.
that.
I believe he has a 4.4940. I'm pretty sure is what I read.
Yeah.
This play here, I liked his just following his blockers. He's patient.
Right there.
He's not rushing the play, just kind of using the guy, and then he's off to the races.
Oh,
I like how he's got his hand on his blocker too.
Right.
Yeah.
Just a little bit of that feel, like he puts his hand back on there too, right here. See, I like that too.
This dude said more tackles than I've seen in high school, a lot.
Impressive.
All right, so let's take a look at his, footwork and short area quickness. This is something, again, this is footwork. I mean, it's so important for a running back for me to be able to look at that cut right there. I mean, that's
That's filthy.
Cut, right? That really is. Right here, boom. Then the burst, and then
I mean, good God.
I mean, what are these teams preparing for him even doing in their in their team meetings before they got to face this guy?
Playing.
You know what they say? They get the whole team together and they say, "Do the best you can."
Tackle the guy. Grab something.
Exactly.
Just try and tackle the guy.
Exactly.
Yeah, he's fast enough as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah, that lateral agility that he has is pretty good for a big guy too.
Again, I think his footwork is tremendous.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, the way he
really impressive.
just nimbles through that little hole right there. And then that little, the very subtle.
He doesn't lose speed either.
Right. Watch, he has a little cut right here, right there, and that makes that guy miss and continues on. It's really.
And he doesn't lose speed when he's making these cuts.
Yeah, absolutely.
Nice.
Like that right there. He put his foot in the ground and just went. Right.
So that was a nice cut.
Foot in the ground and gone.
Yeah, that was a nice cut to the left, right there.
Mm-hmm.
Somebody's going to tear an ACL trying to tackle this guy.
Seriously.
Nice spin move.
Yeah, it was a nice spin move. Boop.
Oh yeah, that spin move is nice. Shows he got he's got a lot of moves in the arsenal.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Well, it shows his athleticism too.
Absolutely.
And he can create when things break down behind the line of scrimmage too.
So,
I know it's high school, but
I thought again this was a really good. I mean, just like the jump to the outside and then the burst around the corner.
Yeah,
was.
And he didn't take it all the way outside. He saw his wide receiver had that block.
Right.
And cut inside of him. Cuts inside of him right there.
And this guy can't get a hold of him either until it's too late.
Just get him out of bounds.
It's like, dude, just push him out, please.
Love the hesitation on the at the beginning of this, and then again the burst. I mean, just watch the little hesitation here. Right there, just trying to find his way. Little patience.
It's just he has such a feel.
Yeah, he does.
For the hole and where it's developing, man. It's impressive.
Yeah. All right, so speed and acceleration. Okay. He's got enough juice for me.
Yeah, he does.
Seriously.
I mean,
yeah.
Nice cutback right there. That defensive back is running into the fence. Watch the guy run into the fence.
Yeah.
He's still running.
Like I got him. Oh shit!
I'm going home. I'm out of
here. To me, I'm just running, jumping over the fence, and leaving. I'm gone.
Yeah.
I thought he had a lot of burst coming out of this this break. I mean, he just explodes out of that.
That was nice. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
I mean, he's just outrunning people to these corners. People are taking. I mean, it's high school, so they're taking bad angles, but still, he's outrunning them to the spot.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so this was a trick play where, it's a punt, but they give it to him.
What is the defender doing that's chasing him right here?
What a cut, though. Look at that cut he made in the open field. That
just
cut in the open field
don't
was
bother.
pretty good. Watch
this dude right there. He's going to fall.
Watch
He's like,
this.
Yeah.
Boom. Oh,
That's
Oh
impressive.
man,
my
that is
God.
filthy.
Like
Yeah.
that defensive player didn't stand a chance. He's running full speed to the sideline and he cuts like that.
Yeah, no chance whatsoever.
No, jeez, untouched.
yeah.
I mean, he's got
burst
plenty of
coming up.
burst.
Yeah.
Wow.
Mm.
man,
It's like shot. He's like shot out of a cannon.
Yeah, he sees that hole and he's just
Yeah.
Wow.
he's
He
willing to
has so
wait.
many translatable skills to
Yeah.
college.
Yeah,
All right, so we're
willing
going to look
wait.
at his strength and contact balance here. I mean, these plays are just ridiculous.
Yeah, that's not easy to break.
I mean, he still doesn't go down. But some of these plays with him, I mean, just with the just sheds
man.
sheds contact. I mean, he's got a strong lower half.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The way he keeps balance on his feet.
Nobody can get a hold of him. Yeah, he's
Yeah.
like bouncing off of guys.
But I like his contact balance on this. He gets hit there, he gets hit there,
Mhm.
there.
There.
I mean, and
Getting the legs clipped is not easy to stay up to, and it happened like 3 times.
Right there again.
Yeah.
Again,
yeah. Oh, what a move!
I mean, good. Wow.
I mean, just look at this guy.
Oh, that's not fair.
I was watching this film before and I was just like in awe. Just wow. That's all I was saying.
Yeah. All right, guy. The last trait is his pass catching, and he only caught 4 balls in all of college. So if there's one knock on him, it's going to be his pass catching ability. There's only one I could find on all of Huddle film anywhere was this play.
Yeah.
You know, but I
body
watched
control.
Oh,
Yeah,
but
no,
look at that.
absolutely.
Was any of this tape from his senior year?
I'm not sure.
Okay. I'm interested. I don't know much. I haven't been much of a high school, scouting guy. This is like honestly one of the first times I've gotten into it, including stats too. And I was checking up on his stats. Last year he averaged like 10 yards a carry. So far in his senior year, he's averaging 5.2 yards a carry, which makes no sense to me. Like, how do you tackle this guy within 5 yards?
This is the latest stuff on Huddle, which is, they usually got the stuff, so as far as the thing. So
it could also, I don't know how reliable high school stats are. Like, that could be a complete lie, but
right.
I read 5.2 yards per carry.
So there you got it, man. I mean, it's there we go. That's
Georgia won't overwork him. Georgia won't give him more than 20.
No.
That's right.
No.
Yeah, that's where you want to go if you want to ease your workload a little bit, right?
Yeah.
And that was what I was going to bring up as I like the fit because Georgia's a really good program and they have produced some really good running backs, NFL running backs. But it also concerns me because of how much playing time is he going to get. He seems like a guy that's going to walk in and earn his share. But we thought that about Kendall Milton too, right? And he hasn't really earned a whole lot. So some concern there.
Well,
I have to believe that no matter how good he is, Kendall Milton's going to get first shot at that job next year.
Yeah.
If he can stay healthy.
Even then, you're going to have Zamir White gone and also James Cook. You know what I mean? So there's going to be some opening. I mean, Kendall Milton can't take all of it.
Yeah,
sure. Yeah. So.
True.
All right, man. So look, our last segment tonight before we wrap it up, we're going to talk about game selections. All right. And I'll start it off. I want to, we are going to pick a game and maybe just talk about some Devy, people and guys that we're looking forward to watching. So, I chose this game really because of Tyler Batty of Missouri. I'm very interested. This guy is 5'8", 195 pounds. We just kind of mentioned, Michael Carter's the same size, 200 pounds. Having success. So if Tyler can get up there, I mean, he'll be that same size. Like I said, I usually like, bigger backs, but man, this dude is so productive. I mean, it is just crazy. His stats, 157 yards on the season through 9 weeks, 989 yards, 11 TD, 6.3 yards a carry. Larry Roundtree was, the guy last year, and Tyler has stepped in and has just, really dominated. He's 4th in rushing yards as we speak in the nation, in college. And not to mention what I like about him is he's a receiving back, right? He's already gotten 40 receptions for another 305 yards, averaging almost 8 yards a catch with 4 additional touchdowns, through the air. So I'm really interested to see, him play Georgia. This is the game for me. I want to see him. He's been kind of beaten up on other, lesser competition. Vanderbilt, he just ran for 8.2 yards a carry. It's Vanderbilt. So we want to scratch that game off, right? Because we don't, really think that much of that game. But so I'm interested just to see, him at Georgia. I'm interested to see how he stands up to that rock solid defense. On the Georgia side of the ball, going back to Missouri, there's really no other, guys. Connor Bazelak might be a quarterback. Maybe we talk about next year, but I don't think,
Mookie.
Right now
There's
there's not a whole much to talk about from Missouri as far as, Devy assets. But, obviously on the Georgia side of the ball, there's lots. We don't need to talk about Zamir White. The guy I'm interested in is James Cook. I mean, he's another guy who's on the smaller side who might have that kind of third down back role in the NFL. Interested to see him continue. Brock Bowers, as crazy as it is, I mean, we're talking about Georgia going to the national championship and their leading receiver with 26 receptions as their tight end, which is like unheard of. So they're winning obviously through defense and running the rock with Zamir White and Cook and Milton and so on and so forth. But, Jermaine Burton, he's got a groin injury right now. I'm hoping to see him get back on the field. I'm a big, Jermaine Burton guy. I think he's a good receiver. But, he's only had 13 receptions on the year so far, and I'm ready to see him maybe come out and start getting ready for that national championship run and start, being that dominant wide receiver that we kind of saw last year. Donia Mitchell's a younger player, got a few shares of him in my C2C leagues. Excited to have him too. And Ladd McConkey is a freshman wide receiver. I just looked on his 24/7 stats. He was like the 163rd wide receiver. I think he's just flashing right now because of all the injuries with Pickens and everything. But in any case, Brock Bowers, obviously you guys know about. Jermaine Burton, let's see if he can get on the field. And Adonia Mitchell is a future name. Kyrus Jackson too is another player that I think next year, both Mitchell and Jackson next year, I think will get more play. So those are my Devy guys, for this particular game. So who wants to go next? Dan, who do you got? What game you want to preview for this weekend?
Yeah, I was just going to jump real quick on the Jermaine Burton thing, and I'm with you on that one, Brandon. Man, I am anticipating seeing him. I was really high on him coming into the year. So I'm going to talk about the Liberty Ole Miss game, really just to talk about two guys, Snoop Connor, Jerry and Ely. I'm totally fucking
love it.
It's all about the quarterbacks, right? And we know it's all about the quarterbacks with this game. And that's why I was asking you earlier, Rich, about the Matt Corral thing, because I really want to see these two battle against each other, man. Look, I have them both in my top 10 in my Devy rankings. They're both getting a lot of first-round buzz. They both could be top 10, top 15 picks in the NFL draft. So bet your ass there's going to be some scouts wanting to see this game too and wanting to see these guys, again, battle against each other. I know they're going against the defenses, but, it's kind of a primetime quarterback matchup. So, look, Malik Willis, he's got some things to clean up. We've talked about it, right? I don't want to just go too far into that. But the traits that the NFL will be looking for, the traits that excite me, and I think most fans are, the obvious ones. He's got that big arm and the speed and elusiveness to just create, man. He's electric. So let me just jump on this real quick with Malik Willis. So 2 weeks ago, right? He goes out of the game with an injury. We're all talking about it on the dashboard like, shit, man, this guy's going to be done for the season. It seemed like a serious injury. He was taken to the damn hospital, right? Yeah. And I look later on. I didn't even watch, like I was, I didn't catch the rest of the game because I only watched Liberty to see Malik Willis. So I check later and I see that he came back into the damn game and lit it up. Like that right there was just increased his stock from me, man. That was that kind of toughness and resilience to go with all the electricity that he brings is just he has a chance to go as the first quarterback. The other guy I think has that chance is Matt Corral. We talked about him a little bit. He has slowed down a little bit, but he's still playing efficient football, right? I mean, he's like the turnovers have not plagued him, right? He's making good decisions. He's checking it down and he's seeing the field well. I was really watching this to see his eye movement and he's looking off safeties, man. He's going through his reads, the progressions. I see a lot of traits that are going to translate well to the NFL, and I think even though he's not lighting it up the same, I don't think it's hurt his stock as much as some people may or may not think. So yeah, I'm excited to watch those two quarterbacks, and
yeah, it's going to be a duel. It's going to be a duel for sure. It's going to be, I think, an important game for probably more Willis than Corral. So, Rich, what game are you looking forward to watching?
Yeah, so I actually went a little bit deeper. I didn't pick any of the big games. I actually want to watch Miami and Georgia Tech. So on the Miami side, the last couple of weeks, I've been extremely impressed with Tyler Van Dyke. All right, the first thing you notice with him is his arm strength. He can sling the ball. He has a beautiful deep ball. Like he throws it high in the air. It's very catchable. Lets his receivers run under it. So he's been playing really, really well. Played well last week as well. And then their running back, Jalen Knighton, he has impressed me as well. He's not going to be a between the tackles type of guy. If he does make it to the NFL, he'll be a receiving back, get the edge, kind of like a Kenny Gainwell. But he's played really, really well. And it took a couple injuries, obviously Cameron Harris and the other one's escaping me, for him to basically take over that backfield. But he's run away with it. I want to see the young wide receivers for Miami. Obviously, Rambo is established, but I want to see the other young guys. And I want to see their freshman tight end. I want to see Arroyo get some more game time. He is the future tight end for them. Obviously, Will Mallory will be leaving, but he's very, very good. And on the Georgia Tech side, obviously, we have Jamar Gibbs. He's my RB2. He's dynamic. May not be having a great year, according to everybody, rushing the ball, but I mean, it's his complete package that you're looking at, right? So he may have 20 yards rushing in a game, but he's got 120 yards receiving, so he's very complete back. I also want to check out their quarterback, Jeff Sims. So he struggled the first game of the year, but since then, so I want to say he got injured in the first game. Since coming back from that injury, he has played really, really, really well. He's taken what the defense has given him. He throws the ball downfield. He has that mobility that the NFL is looking for. I'm not saying that he's an NFL quarterback, but he's a young guy that's been impressive so far. So I want to check that game out.
Yeah, I think Keyshawn Smith is the name of one of those young Miami receivers. I got a couple shares of him. He's been getting like 50 yards, 60 yards a game for the last few weeks. So, I just mentioned Van Dyke on my podcast this week. One of my questions listeners was, give me some deep players. And I picked him as my quarterback. I agree with you. As much as I'm Jake Garcia up,
me too.
Hey, listen, it doesn't matter. Well, if this guy comes in and plays, we could be looking at the wrong guy. We have to be open to that. So I love your thought process on that. I didn't really know any other people were talking about him. So, Sam, who do you got? What game are you looking at? Is it going to be the Syracuse game, or are they like off or something?
They're on a bye. Hey, I'm sticking to the ACC though. Wake Forest, UNC. Surprisingly, I was looking at the lines this week. Wake Forest, they're ranked 10th. They're 8-0. UNC's 4-4 unranked. It is at UNC, but Wake Forest is only -3. The thing is, it doesn't really surprise me. I feel like Wake Forest is a little vulnerable. I got to see them play at Syracuse, and it took overtime for them to beat us. I just don't think they're that great a team, and UNC with Sam Howell and Josh Downs got an explosive offense that can always keep pace. So those are the two, obviously, the biggest Devy assets in those matchups, Howell and Downs. Got to see them play last week as well in Notre Dame, which was awesome. I mean, Howell, I don't think he had the biggest passing day, pretty good, but some of his runs, man, the guy's got ridiculous lower body strength. I mean, honestly, one of the most impressive plays was actually an incompletion, actually a throwaway, where he got pressured, scrambled out of the pocket. Linebacker grabbed onto him and was trying for a couple yards to drag him down while Howell was carrying it, and he realized he wasn't getting anywhere, so he stayed standing up and got it out of bounds for just a throwaway. Lived to fight another down, and it was, the lower body strength he showed was impressive.
Yeah,
looking forward to seeing him in a big matchup, seeing what he can do, see if he can establish himself as. I know we've been talking about Willis and Corral as seem to be the top two like favorites in the Devy world and maybe the top two quarterbacks in the draft, but I think Howell's definitely still in that conversation.
He's so much more athletic, I think, than people give him credit for.
Oh, without a doubt.
He how many yards has he run for this year? Like it's ridiculous, man. He's had some 100-yard games out there. Like,
yeah,
it's impressive.
He's still my QB too. He's still my QB too.
I think I saw this. I think Brandon, you might have retweeted this or someone.
Yeah, I did. Yeah,
most 10-yard rushes, and he's second in the country.
Oh, that was me.
Rushes.
I said something like one of these is not supposed to be
First
here.
being Sean Tucker, gotta say that. But Howell close second. So impressive. And then Josh Downs, he's been super explosive this year too. UNC wide receiver 2023. I think our guy Corey P was on him in the offseason. Been great. He had like 140 yards last week. So looking forward to him. And then on the other side, that Wake Forest passing offense has been surprisingly explosive too. Sam Hartman has been putting together a quietly very solid season. Could end up being, a late draft pick if he keeps it up. I believe he's got 22 touchdowns, just 3 interceptions, and they're undefeated, ranked number 10. So he's playing pretty well, and he's throwing the 2 solid guys that I don't think are getting talked about enough. Jaquari Roberson, redshirt junior. He had a solid year last year, 900 yards, like 8 touchdowns or so, and he's having another good year this time. And then A.T. Perry, man, I got to see him play against Q's again, and he had a Randy Moss stat line. Guy had three catches, 137 yards, and 3 touchdowns, and it was wild. And he had the game-winning overtime catch, which was a ridiculous acrobatic diving catch in the back of the end zone. Guy has 3 straight 100+ yard seasons. 100+ yard games. Would love to see him keep it up against. Even though UNC defense isn't great, they've played a light schedule, so they're still one of the better defenses they'll have faced. So it would be nice to see him put up another 100-yard season. He is a redshirt sophomore, I believe. Hasn't done much until this year, so I'm not sure if he'll declare this year. But I mean, if he keeps putting up 100-yard games, and they continue to be undefeated and he gets some attention, wouldn't be surprised to see him be, a round 4, round 5 pick in this draft. Or he could come back, Jaquari declares, and he takes over the lead role, puts up 1,000 yards next season, and then goes day 2.
Nice.
Well, imagine if Donovan Green didn't get hurt. How awesome that offense would be.
Oh man.
Yeah.
I forgot.
Hey Sam, I got a little present for you. I'm going to surprise you. Hold on.
Hitting Howell there. Mark with the 31. Second and 13, flushed by White, chased by Botello, taking off. Howell up the numbers, inside the 10, and all the way home. Sam Howell with a touchdown run.
He doesn't get enough credit for that.
I love it. Yeah.
Doesn't get enough credit for that.
All right.
It's almost like the defense they don't expect him to. Every time nobody expects him to be able to make that kind of run, it seems like.
Was that Branson Robinson?
Yeah.
Right.
That's just a little glimpse of the future of this show. What we're going to be adding a little video into it. So we're just getting started here on the dashboard. So what I want to do is that when we talk about our players, I want to actually have us off to the side again and show like a 2-minute highlight reel while you talk about your stock up and stock down player.
Oh, that's awesome.
I like that a lot.
So.
Cool.
All right, Sal, wrap it up, baby. What game are you looking for?
For Rich, Don Chaney was the other running back.
There you go.
Right.
Yep.
So this is like, I have to say West Coast. So I know it's not too exciting, but USC and Arizona State. Someone's got to win that game. I mean, so I'm kind of looking at who's taking over, for Drake London. Who's going to be the guy at the end of this year that's going to lead into next year? I know probably not Michael Jackson or anything yet, but Taj Washington, Gary Bryant, those 2 guys are definitely going to step, I think more Taj, but Gary Bryant had a great game last week, 3 for 89, 2 touchdowns. He could be, the deep threat with Taj, doing more, maybe Taj will be more in the Drake London role. I don't know, but it'd be interesting to see who steps up. Someone's got to step up. I mean, I guess it just depends who the quarterback is because they're alternating them left and right with Slovis and Dart. And so Slovis, thank God, will be gone probably after this year. But
poor Slovis.
Dart is the future. It's more future with this game because, I mean, I look at the same when Arizona State side with their receivers, Wilson, Badger. I love LV Bunkley Shelton. But one or two of those receivers are going to step up at the end of this year to be good Devy, picks maybe for next year. Because this is about the end for like Rashad White, Keontae Ingram. They might get drafted, but I don't expect too much. Arizona State, I'm just always amazed how they don't do as well as I think. I mean, I look at the team, it's like you got Rashad White, Daniels, Trainium, Nagata, and it's like you got smoked by Washington State.
Yeah.
I'm just like, I don't get it.
I know. Fucking Herm Edwards is coach too, man. You think he would be doing a little bit better?
Yeah, especially when they're doing all this recruiting. I mean, they would be,
right,
stuff too.
Right.
I'm looking at this game more, not really as much for this year, but more, just keep my eye on these guys, these receivers for both teams for next year.
Yeah.
Everybody already knows about Trainium and Nagata for Arizona State running the ball. Dart, everybody knows for USC. Daniels is probably going to come for one more year. But these receivers, there's going to be one or two of those guys on USC and Arizona State next year. It's like, oh, we should have been in earlier on Taj Washington, or should have been earlier on Bunkley Shelton, or one of those guys. Somebody's going to separate themselves and get a Devy pick next year.
Yeah, I'll tell you, I got so many Taj Washington shares in my Devy expansion drafts this past summer. I mean, when he transferred, I think from Memphis, I think he was in Memphis before. I mean, his highlight film is impressive. I mean, he was making high point grabs down the sideline. I mean, he looked like a physical, tough. And then I figured, you know what, he's going to go there. Drake London's going to get all the coverage, is the number one guy, and figured he'd be feasting a little bit. So I'm with you there, man. I'm hoping he's the guy that emerges. And I guess we can really kind of stop thinking that Jaden Daniels is an NFL quarterback. I know a lot of guys that like had him very high. I mean, 2 years ago, my goodness, he was being drafted in the first and second rounds as like a potential QB1, I never saw it with his size. He's like a toothpick out there. I mean, I just never thought he could ever withstand the NFL pounding of getting hit.
Well, I was drafting Keaton Slovis that early, so
yeah, you're right.
So I took Jaden Daniels guilty. I think it was early round 3 and my only C2C so far. And I have made a decision, guys. I am not going in on quarterbacks with the last name Daniels anymore.
You got JC.
My name is Daniel, and I can't go in on Daniel.
Oh, that's great. That's great. That is the insight you only get here at the Devy Dashboard, the Huddle show, is just don't pick quarterbacks with the last name Daniels. So.
I should do stock down on one of the Daniels next week just for you.
Yeah, exactly. Absolutely should.
Yeah. So we have a question here by Ryan Ralph, and it said, I would love to hear your folks' thoughts on what we've seen from Khalib Williams so far and where in overall QB ranks they'd put him. I mean, I know some guys are out there like number 2 or 3 overall, and it's just like, I just can't leapfrog a guy look, he's looked impressive. I just can't leapfrog him over 2022 and 2023, 3 prospects yet. I mean, I just can't do it. I think overall he's like maybe number 7 or 8 on my dashboard, but I can't jump him above Bryce Young or Sam Howell or these guys that are going to hit our rosters. I know it's so tantalizing, and I think that's a problem that a lot of us in the Devy world, we see glimpses of these young guys and we go for them, but there's players right before our eyes that are going to translate quicker, and a lot can happen. So what are your guys' thoughts on that?
I think he's the clear one in his class, and I think.
Oh, well, for sure.
2023, yeah. I mean, I'm just counting by class. 2023, there's Bryce Young, and then I think he's better than every other guy in 2023. So we got Bryce Young and then Caleb, and then 2022. I'm with you. I'm going with Howell. I'm probably taking Corral and Willis as well. Yeah. After that, he might be my QB5. I mean, guys look like a stud. I don't know. I mean, there are a couple other 22 guys that you can make an argument for, but. I think he's got every tool in the bag. I think he's looked absolutely electric in his time, and obviously only a couple of games. And like DJU looked electric in the same amount of games last year. So anything can happen. This time next year we could be talking about him as a huge bust. But
then you'll just have to talk about him in stock down, right? If that happens. Sam's our go-to guy over here, right, man? Maybe we should start calling Sam the Grim Reaper, Brandon. I don't know. No. I love that. Listen, I love that. I always want to be. How about? Okay. I got a better one. Angel of Death. Is that better? Is that
There we go.
a little bit different?
So with
Or the
Antichrist?
failed
I don't know.
The failed Grim Reaper, because I try to say guys are down and then they pop off. So.
Yeah, you're the anti-Grim Reaper,
Exactly.
I guess. Whatever that is.
I had a
with
question,
Williams.
guys. What do you guys think
sure.
about, real quick before we wrap it up, Kenny Pickett? I mean, no, or I mean,
Daniel?
I'm in.
Daniel, go ahead.
Yes,
I give you the floor, Daniel.
I'm all in on Pickett, man. I admittedly coming into the season, I mean, nobody really had him on their radar coming into the season. Let's be honest, right? He hadn't really done much. He wasn't standing out in any way. I've watched a lot of Pitt football. I've caught a lot of games live of his. I'm in, man. I think, look, he's getting the NFL buzz. At least you start to hear some chatter coming about Kenny Pickett, right? In the NFL circles, the mock draft circuits are starting to put him, a little bit higher. Later in the first round, sometimes I've seen him go number 1 overall. Now I'm not going there. No, I don't think he's going to go before. I think Howell, Willis, and Corral will all likely go before Pickett. But as a mid to late first round guy, I think I'm in, man. Hate on the guy all you want. He's producing, and he's not just doing it. It's not just garbage stats, man. He's going through reads. He's making NFL throws. And he's a tough kid. And you see that fire. He's got that fire about him that I think NFL teams are going to really like. So I'm in on Pickett.
Yeah, he's pretty athletic, but I'll tell you, I'm not to make you sad, Daniel, but it looks like his middle name is Kenny Daniels.
Oh,
no.
It's
Done.
Nah.
Yeah.
You, buddy. Yeah,
He's a day 2 guy.
Oh,
yeah,
man.
yeah.
You think day 2? What do you think? You don't think he gets into day 1?
So I only think that there's probably going to be 3 quarterbacks taken in the first round. I think it's going to be Howell, Corral, and Willis.
Willis?
I think we
Willis.
say that now, guys.
I think Willis.
It seems like we do this. We kind of do this every year, right? And then the NFL wants they need quarterbacks. There's so many teams that need quarterbacks. I mean, we were doing the same thing with Mac Jones last year, right? I mean, he started to build some buzz, just like Pickett was building, but a lot of people were just skeptical, right? No, he's not a first round guy. He's not. I'm not there with him yet, and he goes top 15. So,
yeah, but like you said, man, I think there's a lot of time left. And listen, and if the NFL draft guys start loving him, then we got to respect it. That's the bottom line. Because
I haven't watched Pickett this year, so I don't want to really give my take. But all I'll say is, if you like Pickett, don't watch his 2020 tape.
Yeah, no. God.
Oh, yeah. I want nothing to do with it, man. It's just gonna kill my buzz.
Yeah.
Real quick before we go.
Yeah, sure.
Real quick. Hopefully Ryan's still watching. Back to Williams.
Mm-hmm.
So I think the ranking differs if it's Devy and C2C as well. So for me and Devy, I have him around 6 to 8. But if he's C2C, I'm taking him much earlier than that.
Yeah. That's a really good
to
point.
get the production on the college side. I just wanted to throw that out there.
That's good stuff, man. All right, guys. I just wanted to tell you how much I enjoyed doing this stuff with you guys. I think we're really just, like I said, I want to laugh. I want to have a good time. It should just be free and loose and everyone be themselves. So it's awesome. We'll see you guys next week. Sal, anytime you want to jump on, man, that's what I'm saying. Every guy that is on here as a host, is like a special guest. I just say, hey, if you want to come on in the future in a few weeks and say, hey, you're looking for someone, love to have you, man. Really.
Awesome. Thanks.
Absolutely.
All right.
It was fun, Sal.
So enjoy the games, guys, this weekend. And thanks for tuning in. We all appreciate your time. Thanks, guys.
Appreciate it.
Don't leave, Sal.
Oh.